everyone, this is Dekilah with a very hopefully important video for you. At least I think this is an important topic. And I am making this video to talk to you about the whole body image, self-confidence, body shaming sort of movement, I guess. It's kind of going around, at least on my Facebook feed, with a lot of models and women in general, but this is going to be focused a bit more about female models specifically. So for this video, I have put on no makeup at all. My nails are done because I just did them before filming this, before I decided I was going to film this video. And I put this outfit on because this is the closest thing I have to swimwear, and I wanted you guys to be able to see a couple of the body things I talk about, and I thought this would be the easiest way to show you. So, that being said, really quickly, I have been modeling for about 6 years now, and I have been moderately successful depending on what your definition of success is. I'm not going to go into all of that, but I just wanted to let you know that I've been doing this for a little while. I'm primarily an art, nude, and glamour model. I've also done a lot of conceptual work, some vintage fashion, and other alternative sort of fashion-y stuff, and lots of other things, pretty much a little bit of everything, really. So let's talk about body image as it pertains to female models. So as a model, you are in a slightly different position than the average woman, because your physical appearance is in fact something that you are judged on for being suitable for jobs, whether you're being paid for that job or you're shooting trade. Your physical appearance is almost certainly going to have something to do with whether you are accepted for that shoot or not. Now, some photographers and some projects are open to a wide variety of looks, and some of them are more specific. So as a model, your job, or part of your job, is to figure out what your look is and to learn to work with that look. So this is a little bit different than for the average person who hopefully isn't being judged on their appearance so much for things like their job and stuff like that, but for models, you are being judged on that. So unfortunately, you have to kind of learn to deal with that emotionally in particular, because nobody's perfect and everyone has a different ideal of beauty, and photography and modeling are very, very subjective, which means everybody has an opinion, and some people's opinions are more relevant depending on the situation. So I'm going to tell you now how I deal with it personally. So for me, one of the first things people notice about me meeting me in person is how short I am. I am 4 feet and 10 inches tall. Now, supposedly I look taller in photos, but at least half the time when people have seen my photos and then they meet me in person, they're like, oh wow, you're really short. You're a lot shorter than I thought you would be. Things like that. That doesn't bother me. I've never been sensitive about my height. I never wanted to be a runway fashion model, so I don't mind that I'm a foot too short for that. That's okay with me, but there are things that do come up that do bother me a little bit, maybe. So again, like I said, I have to know what my look is and I have to work with it. Now for me, as an art model, having a little bit of curve is a good thing, and most photographers enjoy working with that. However, sometimes in the glamour worlds, bustier models are preferred. I have been turned down for shoots before because I was not busty enough. I've also been turned down for shoots before because I'm not alternative looking enough, because I don't have tattoos, and things like that. That's fine. Those shoots weren't right for me, but that doesn't mean I wasn't disappointed, especially if I really wanted that shoot. And the best way that I have found to deal with it, and I'm going to be very, very open and honest with you right now, is I decide to go back and either read some old positive comments on my photos, or I talk to someone who I feel like can help me get my perspective back, and will not necessarily sugarcoat things, but someone who I can talk to openly and who will probably make me feel a little bit better. I have a few photographers that I do this with. Obviously, I can talk to my husband, who's also a photographer, things like that. I just find someone, I have a circle of people who I know I can trust to talk to and who I know will give me honest answers. And sometimes they aren't exactly what I want to hear, but they're never mean about it. And it usually helps me get things back on track. The other thing is, I have learned some posing tips that I'd like to share with you on posing, in particular the female body. So, I'm going to put the hair back now. And I'm going to fold these down so you can see my stomach a little bit better. So, one of the things that I have, and I'm going to point out a couple of flaws here, but that's okay because I'm showing you things. So, I have what I call the lower belly bump. This is when I'm standing totally relaxed. You know, the bottoms I'm wearing are cutting like right below it, so that usually accentuates it. So, as far as wardrobe goes, I wear bottoms, sometimes like these, that will go more up to my natural waistline. These go at a little bit of an odd spot. A little bit higher would probably be better, but they do kind of help. Now, the other thing I can do is posturing and sort of tightening the muscles or contracting the muscles without sucking it in. Like really sucking it in. So if I stand up a little straighter and then I sort of contract those muscles a little bit, that really helps. I'm not sure you can see it so much from the front, but from the side, this is lifted and contracted and this is just relaxed. It may not be a huge difference, but there is a difference. Now, if I really want to accentuate it, I can really lift and sort of tip my shoulders back and then really suck it in, which makes it harder for me to talk. And from the side, you can see the back arch as well. And then totally relaxed. It makes a difference. Now, another thing, as far as the back arch goes, because this comes up a lot, same stomach thing, is when you arch your back a lot, it can actually stick your stomach out. So it's sometimes better to think of straightening your back. And then if you need more arch, just keep in mind that that will make your stomach curve a little bit because that stuff has to go somewhere. It doesn't just shave off when you arch your back. Now, the other thing is the arms. And this is something that I sort of knew but wasn't always aware of until the last couple of years. And that is that when you fold your arm, obviously the muscle looks bigger. But then also, if you press it against yourself like this, it looks wider. But if you lift it away from your body just a little bit, it looks usually more flattering depending on what you're going for. So, like pulled tight and then relaxed. See the difference? And that goes for pretty much any body part. And that's why sometimes you'll hear people say, well, when you put your hands on something or you put like your arm rest, don't actually rest it, just sort of let it almost hover there. And sometimes you are touching it, but you're not fully resting your arm on it. So, or leg or whatever, because you'll notice too, and I can't do this because I don't have a chair, when you sit down, your thighs will get like quite a bit wider looking as well. So keep this in mind. Now at the same time, if parts are thinner than you'd like them to be, you could use these tricks to make them look, you know, more curved outward. So it depends on what you're going for. Now, the last one I'll show you are the hips. So for art nudes in particular, usually curves and lines are a nice thing. So you'll notice right now I'm standing straight. I'm putting my arms up here so you can see the lines a bit better. So I'm standing straight, you know, feet are together. Now if I curve one knee over, see how that changes the line? And even if I pull my shoulders back like relatively square, or pull my hips back relatively square, it does change the line a little bit from straight to curved, and it just changes the waistline and the hips in particular. So that's something else to keep in mind. Now, with all of this said, remember that there are lots and lots of different body types, and there are models who have been successful with almost every body type. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be super famous, but you can model. And the trick, so to speak, is finding photographers who are willing to work with you. Now, this means that you might have to start with less experienced photographers and then work your way up to more experienced. It also means that you're going to have to put in a lot of work. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which position you're in, the better your look is, the more likely people will work with you based on your look. Now, it really, really helps to have a good attitude, to show up on time, and to have good communication skills as well. But sometimes, and for myself as well, I found that having an easy to work with personality, learning to pose your body, being able to communicate well, sometimes people are willing to give you a little bit more of a chance when you seem like you're really serious and you can form a complete sentence and speak to them like you are a professional and you behave like a professional. It's very important. So work on that as well. And remember that everybody starts out somewhere and you can always go up. And then the last little point I'd like to cover is specifically related to the Facebook and social media. Instead of the sort of kind of, I guess, backhanded shaming where people, I think backhanded is the right word, where people are like, oh, well, you know, skinny models need love too, or curvy girls need love too, or, you know, who wants a really skinny girl when they can have a curvy girl with meat on her bones or something. I've seen memes for all that stuff. I'm not making it up off the top of my head. Like, I've seen the memes. What that does, and you may not realize it, I kind of hope if you're posting those things you don't realize it, and maybe this will help you to realize it. When you say, for example, men don't like really skinny girls, they want meat on their bones, what you're really doing is you're not being body positive. You're being positive towards one body type and negative towards another, which is the same as being negative towards curvy girls and positive towards skinny girls. It's just the other way around. So what I like to do is usually not get involved, but I made this video, so I'm going to get involved at this point, is to say nice things about whatever body type you like, but don't use that as an opportunity to say negative things about other things. So maybe just say, oh, look at the lovely curves in this photo, or, you know, I love how toned she looks in this photo, or, you know, whatever else you want to say, but don't say anything negative about anyone else. And that should go for most of your modeling and photography in general. You shouldn't have to knock someone else down to bring yourself up. It eventually will come back to bite you, if not immediately. So just remember, be supportive to other people, because you never know what opportunities they might be able to bring to you too. And I kind of feel that being a nice person makes you more desirable to work with. So I tried to make this video as short as possible. I actually tried to film it a few times yesterday and it ended up too long. So hopefully this version is an acceptable length. If you found it helpful, I would really, really appreciate you sharing it with your model and photographer friends, anyone who's considering becoming a model or maybe is having a little bit of an issue. And I also invite you to contact me personally if this is something that you'd like to talk more about. I do try to answer my Facebook messages as often as possible. YouTube is a little weird with the messages, but I'll try to answer those too. I always read my comments. So please feel free to reach out if this is something that you'd like to talk more about. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye!